My name is Dr. Tanya Cheadle. I'm delivering this video presentation today alongside my colleagues Charlotte James Robertson and Abigail Jenkins. In 21-22, we ran a project funded by the Learning, Teaching and Development Fund called Partners in Pedagogy, with the aim of developing a feminist student-staff partnership approach in the co-creation of online postgraduate teaching resources. So today I'm going to introduce the broader context to the project, define the methodology, and outline the project structure. Charlotte's then going to describe in more detail how we ran the partnership between the students and staff before discussing the benefits and drawbacks of this approach. And Abby is then going to outline the work we did with external partners before I trace our next steps. So the project was designed to develop a methodology which could be used to co-create the core course modules for a new online distance learning master's programme in global gender history, launching this September. Here at Glasgow, we run a very successful in-person MSc in gender history, and we wish to expand our reach to a more globally diverse and vocational student body. Recent social justice movements have forced heritage, educational, media and third sector institutions to reappraise their approach to public history, foregrounding gender, queer and trans stories, in addition to a new focus on decolonisation. Our new programme, the first fully online MSc in the School of Humanities, aims to meet the continuing professional development needs of those tasked with implementing this agenda, and builds on the Centre for Gender History's recent MOOC. So we know from the existing scholarship that student-staff partnerships, or SSPs, reconceptualise learning as a collaborative and reciprocal process. They challenge existing power hierarchies and create opportunities for agency, empowerment, and leadership within traditionally underserved student populations. Given the feminist values which underscore our work at the Centre for Gender History, we wanted to synthesise an SSP approach with feminist pedagogies, creating an innovative methodology transferable across colleges and subject areas. We designed the project to ensure that the student voice was integrated at every stage. The project was led by two then doctoral students, Charlotte and Abby, with myself acting as mentor. We brought on 6 student consultants who were currently taking the in-person Masters in Gender History. We also partnered internally with colleagues from different disciplines and externally with a whole range of individuals and organisations. And we've been assisted throughout by the Arts, e-learning and innovation team. We held 3 whole team meetings, pre-circulating course materials ahead of time. And between meetings, we worked closely with our partners to commission a diverse range of engaging course materials, including recorded lectures, case study videos filmed by the Leeds Media Unit, and podcasts.
I'm Charlotte, and I'm going to be telling you a bit about how the staff-student partnership actually worked in practice. So we had 3 online meetings across the course of the project. Myself, Abby, Tanya, the Gender History MSc student consultants, and our colleagues from Film and TV, Information Studies and Museum Studies all attended these meetings. In the meetings, we discussed the content and structure of the 4 Moodle lessons Abby and I were designing. These were community histories, libraries and archives, museums and galleries, and screen media. So I think one of the really crucial points about this was that we had one of those meetings very early on in the process, when we only had a brief outline. This allowed the Moodle lessons to be shaped from the beginning by students and other colleagues' feedback in a meaningful way. We didn't just consult them once we were already kind of set in our plans. Abby and I pre-circulated outlines for the lessons and example content about a week before the online meeting. Everyone was then able to comment on a shared document, so we could review the feedback in advance of the meeting. And then we had a discussion of these comments in more detail with the whole group. We then had a meeting with just Tanya, Abby and I to reflect on the feedback and decide what some of the key points to take away were. There were lots of benefits to this approach. Working with the other colleagues was really helpful, particularly with the interdisciplinary nature of the course. So I worked closely with Adele Redhead, a senior lecturer from Information Studies, to develop the reading list and lectures for the library and archives lesson. The MSc students were also full of ideas and enthusiasm about the course. One student comment that I found helpful was that while a diversification of archives in terms of collecting materials from the different communities was highlighted quite strongly in the course, there was not enough about the accessibility of archives for disabled people and people from other minoritized communities. As the student said that she had had personal experience of finding approaching archival research somewhat intimidating. The benefits of this approach was that it made the course much richer, as lots of different case studies, reading, and examples were suggested from students and colleagues. Students brought the experience of having encountered problems on courses in the recent past, such as Moodle designs being unclear or inaccessible. They helped us identify some of these and find solutions or alternatives. The students themselves also gained confidence sharing their ideas and working collaboratively. In terms of challenges, it could be difficult to find a time that worked for everyone, of course, and some didn't have time to provide written feedback in advance every time. Sometimes people also had differences of opinions and what one student found helpful, another did not. So of course, at times decisions had to be made, but I think one takeaway from this was to ensure that there were a variety of ways to engage with the course so that there would hopefully be something for everyone in there. For me personally, working collaboratively in this way felt really dynamic and very creatively stimulating. And it was also a great experience and increased my confidence professionally.
Hey everyone, I'm Abby, and I'll be speaking to you about the external partnerships. So we knew from the start that a key aspect of the course would be to involve external partners from a range of organizations that suited the course themes. So for each theme, we wanted to involve partners who could deliver course lectures alongside those who could help us to develop case studies related to each theme. At first, we intended to widen our search for folks from around the world because the course itself is on global gender history. However, after speaking with our partners, we realized it would make the most sense within the scope of the project to take a local or a global local focus, connecting with various organizations around Glasgow to serve as an exemplar of the variety of methods and approaches that can be found in just one city. We wanted to vary the course materials and ensure students could engage with lectures and case studies in a variety of formats. As Tanya and Charlotte mentioned, we worked with partners to create self-filmed lectures, podcast-style audio recordings, and video case studies that we filmed and edited in partnership with the media team at Glasgow. A few organizations we worked with include the Glasgow Women's Library, the Burrell Collection, the NLS Moving Image Archive, and Our Story Scotland, as well as many more. We were also able to offer an honorarium to folks who gave their time and energy to helping us develop these outputs, which was important to us as a team. One benefit to the variance of approaches was the range of voices we were able to amplify. We filmed with the team at the Glasgow Zine Library, for example, as part of the Library and Archives unit. Charlotte and Tanya interviewed the team, and then we all, alongside a few guests, took part in a zine making workshop. We were able then to demonstrate the work they do at the library from planning all the way through to execution. But then as part of the unit on screen media, I interviewed two freelancers, filmmaker, writer and director Riza Ahmed, and industry programmer and curator Lauren Clark. Both women are based in Glasgow and were able to speak to the challenges of working in screen industries while aligning with feminist ethics and praxis. So, as with any project, there were some limitations. Communication with partners could prove difficult at times, primarily because we were working within such a variety of schedules. And some film studies, for example, required a number of participants, us, the film team, the organization themselves, etc. There were a few outputs then that were completed toward the very end of the project. But overall, for myself, I felt I wish we could develop classes and modules with this level of external participation more often, particularly as we think about a master's course as existing at a crossroads of impact, public engagement, and employability. It was so meaningful and exciting to communicate with folks outside the academic institution, and it really reinforced for me the importance of external engagement in education.
So what next? Well, the design of the Moodle is progressing, and you can see a sneak preview here on the right of the screen. We're consulting as we go to ensure that all the course materials are inclusive and accessible. We're applying a similar methodology in a project to develop the second core course of the new online master's programme entitled Gender History Concepts. This project is being run by two alumni of the in-person master's programme, Bethan Holt and Iona Teichler, and is again funded by the LTDF. When both courses run for the first time in 23-24, we'll seek detailed feedback from the students, and that will allow us to further hone the course materials. Finally, we're continuing to explore the synergies between feminist pedagogies and an SSP approach in a cross-college feminist pedagogy reading group organised by history postgraduate student Alana McPake and hosted jointly with the College of Arts Subtle Network and the College of Social Science Gender and Sexuality LNT Network. Thank you for listening, and we welcome your comments and questions on our project.